This is not a drill, folks. The Calgary Flames have scored goals in the multiples and earned their first home win of the 2025-26 season. It's a 5-1 win over the New York Rangers on Sunday at the Saddledome. Thanks for joining Mike and I to break it all down on Afterburner, a proud presentation of Bet365. Never ordinary, just like us. Use code NATION to get started and hit up the super chat to get your questions and comments highlighted tonight. As always, supporting youth centers of Calgary, an oasis in the storm that many kids' lives can be. So meals, mentoring, sports, music, and the super chat helps keep it all possible. So this is the Calgary Flames at 10 games, 2-7-1, baby. And the things that have dogged them this season, not so much an issue tonight, especially without one of their most exciting players. So Mike, first regulation win of the season. First time the Flames have not trailed in a game this season. Let's get your thoughts on this one.
First and foremost, I don't remember exactly which show I said it on earlier in the season. I think right at the start or even before the start of the season, where I said the Flames had a real tough schedule in front of them to start the year, and I thought they would start the year 2-8. That close. But in any event,
come on, Nostradamus.
2-7-1. I didn't expect it to be 8 losses bookended with wins necessarily, but the Flames do have a very convincing performance tonight, albeit against a Rangers team that is just absolutely floundering, that they've lost, I believe, 6 of their last 7 games under Mike Sullivan. They looked horrendous tonight.
Okay, but they have been good on the road up to this point.
They have been good on the road up to this point.
3-0-1 on the road up until this
Exactly.
game.
So away from MSG, even the Flames were able to get the better of them. And to their credit, they were firing on, I don't know if I would say all cylinders, but most cylinders tonight. And they did a good job. The thing with seasons like this, with teams like this, is that, you know, it can get easy to get lost in the funk. Even the worst teams win 30 games. But by and large, there's still a lot of wins, and we're going to see a fair few wins, even, you know, if the season continues going the way that it has to a certain extent. So it was fun. It was good to see some guys break out of slumps. It was good to see some guys continue good starts, and the Flames improved to 2-7-1.
And the kids got to yell woo at the Dome this season.
They sure did.
And the lights weren't out. Although
they kept them on.
Yeah, reporting from the ground, Mr. Bobby Germany.
Yeah, Bobby
it looks
Germany.
Like they kept them on for starting lineups and everything.
Didn't want to risk it.
Just in case.
They're going on the road. They can get it sorted out now because that was pretty funny.
Listen, no point in investing more money in that building when you're just heading over to the new one.
That's right.
All right, let's get into breaking this thing down. We're going to start in the first period very early. A Kadri bomb. Goals in back-to-back games for Nazem. Quick drop from Huberto. And he just puts it top shelf, a nice wrister
roster, and he's able to make those little touch passes, small area plays. And Kadri, I mean, we'll talk more about Kadri because the reports and stuff that have been coming out around Kadri recently are just super interesting, and it's something that I think we should dive into a little bit more. But also, he was terrific, especially in the first period. I mean, I thought as the game went on, he was overshadowed maybe a little bit more, but the first period, we'll get to the Kevin Ball goal here shortly, but he was flying. He was making plays all around the ice. I posted a message in the first period on Twitter that said, Kadri looks like a guy who is auditioning right now. And not just for Team Canada. There's been a lot that's been said about that, but for other teams that are maybe looking and saying, we need help up the middle. We need a veteran who has Stanley Cup pedigree. To me, Kadri tonight looked like a player who could be of serious value to a lot of other teams in the league.
Well, that's exactly what we saw on the second goal of the evening. It all came after like a really mint zone entry.
It was unbelievable.
Kadri. Oh, he took it from his own zone. He fought off like what? There were 3 Rangers. I think like at one point, maybe 4 all around him.
Well, the stick handling here is just unbelievable. I think we got Igor Shesterkin has looked human a lot of his career against the Flames. His numbers against the Flames are not very good in his career. The Flames, I was going to mention off the hop, are now 8-1-1 against the Rangers in the Adam Fox era. A lot of which overlaps with Igor Shesterkin. And that's one that against other teams he might have stopped, but hey, hard to fault him for letting in a perfectly placed shot, and Kadri got it all started.
And I do forget the actual number, but the Flames were among the worst teams in the league when it came to getting scoring from their defensemen. So yet another monkey to get off the back there. But while Beasley is announcing the goal, the Rangers scored on literally their 3rd shot of the night. And it's tough. It's I believe it was off the face-off.
Yeah.
Zary kind of loses his.
Yeah, if you're wearing a full bubble like Labo was, you have to make sure you live up to it because you just look so good out there. He was good, and I mean he outshone guys who were making more than 10 times what he does on that Rangers team, which was just full of passengers tonight. But yeah, I mean a bit of a mix up there with Zary and Weegar. Weegar, you could maybe say he overcommits a little bit. But especially on the overhead replay, that's Zary. You know, you got to cover that guy if Weegar's coming for the pinch. Is what it is. Kind of a tough play, but hard to fault Dustin Wolf on it. And it was the only one he let in on the night.
Yeah, you know, you talk about guys getting some absolution tonight. We saw a lot of players who would have maybe a pretty poor choice, but then they followed it up by doing something really good. So net neutral.
Yeah, pretty much.
Net neutral. Yeah. So Rangers were held to a paltry 5 shots.
In that first period. And speaking of the number 5, we've got our first super chat from the Armchair GM podcast on podcast love here. $5 to the youth centers of Calgary. It's a super chat. Just pulled the boomer. You know, you gotta. I need the horn.
The resemblance.
Yeah.
Uncanny.
Super chat. That's just what he does. He goes,
boo.
It's the super chat. Anyway, keep going.
All right, that'll take us into the second period. This is where we get to show Dustin Wolf a little more love because this is where he actually got busy. This was the first big one for me, denying Mika Zibanejad on a clear-cut breakaway just as a Flames power play ends. And he'd only faced 9 shots up to this point, but Wolf, so solid. So solid.
Zibby has turned into a bit of a whipping boy on Broadway over the last couple of years, and this is going to be one that is just super frustrating for their fans because he, again, was one of the Rangers who kind of had a rough night. By the same token, this is just really good awareness coming out of the box. And Dustin Wolf is able to sort of lunge over to his right and make a fence thing we saw on special teams on the night because the Rangers certainly outdid them in the third in that regard. But yeah, Wolf up to the task. The thing with Wolf, I don't know if Zibanejad had a good enough book on him. If you're going to try and make a deke like that and you don't really have much speed, he's got such good lateral movement. It's hardly even worth it. Like if you're just going to try and drag it around him instead of lifting it, it's really tough because he can get those pads across laterally just like that.
And I mean, this is my least favorite thing to hear people say about goalies, but when I see him do the splits, I'm like, so athletic.
Oh,
I know people are like, oh, such an athletic goaltender. I'm like, you definitely make it to the NHL by being unathletic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but he puts them to shame. He puts a lot of goaltenders to shame, and that's a high bar to clear. But he was on a real good pedestal tonight. He stopped all 13 he faced in the second period.
Yeah. And then that set the stage for ya boy Sharangovich.
How about it?
Oh, gets the monkey off his back to make it 3-1 Flames.
He deserved it. He had a couple opportunities in the first where, you know, there was one that stood out to me where he had a wide open net and his stick just shattered. It's like this guy can't catch a break. But yeah, he gets the shot and he did catch a break. Shesterkin made the initial save and it bounced off the glove and goes in. You know, you got to be lucky to be good and good to be lucky. And in this case, he's finally getting lucky. So good to see.
Also, behind the scenes, after he scored, Mike was like sitting on the couch next to me and he's like, people have been so hard on Sharangovich. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like you?
Me? There was somebody in the comments on the last video who was accusing me of being too complimentary. So
Sharangovich apologist.
I'm an apologist. We have another super chat. Another super chat from Dylan Simpson. No message associated. People got to start, you know, the whole point is, you know, you give the money. We appreciate the money. The youth centers of Calgary appreciate the money, but we also say what you want us to say. We'll say anything, really. We have no filter. You can tell us to say really anything with its limits, of course. We're not going to say anything, you know, dirty or vulgar or obscene.
I'll go vulgar.
She'll go vulgar. I won't. No.
I do see a good comment here, though. Alan Tex Andrews. The on the mic looks like Connor Bedard. I can only assume he's talking about me.
No, Alan said Connor Beard. He left out the first D. It's just Connor Beard. Alan Tex Andrews. The on the mic
Connor Bedard
looks like Connor Beard. That's so good. Yeah, thank you, Dylan. Oh, and we got another super chat from Dylan. Oh no,
it's coming.
It's
folks.
coming.
I feel like we have to make it an event now.
Oh yeah, of course. We've been setting it up too long for it not to be an event.
Yeah, before we get to like the next step in the recap, hear my thoughts on it. Like, just keep pressuring Pinder and Boom and Rhett for this.
Oh yeah.
When we do the drinking show, I think we should have our own like wrestling segment.
Oh sure, of course. I mean, last year they would beat what happened last year. It was just a bunch of talking and stories and all that stuff. The folks want to see senseless violence.
It's a shame that people miss the dancing afterward.
It's true. It was a good time.
I saw the video of that.
Yeah. Oh, I've got lots of photos. When I was on the show, when I was on the main show with Rhett a couple of weeks ago, there were lots of photos that were shared. Photos that I don't know if Rhett knew were taken, and there are lots more when they came from. So we got lots to get through.
Oh, perfect. Let's end that second period on a high note. This is where Wolf had like highlight save, highlight save. Yeah, that paddle stop. Oh, can we just throw that up now?
Oh, it's just fantastic. I was truly stunned. Look at this. That's like, there was a huge sequence of Wolf stops. He was named the game's second star because the first star was kind of undeniable. We'll get to him. 968 save percentage on the night for Dustin. He now has 2 wins on the year. His save percentage just continues to climb ever so slightly. He has been one of the few non-problems on the team this season. There are a few less pressing issues to me than Dustin Wolf. Stats disregarded entirely, and tonight he was just the opposite of an issue. He was a huge asset to the Flames.
Yeah, you hinted at it. Takes us to the third period. The Flames take their first penalty of the night with Connor Zary sitting for holding the stick. And what do we have? A shorthanded 2-on-1. The veterans were just doing it. Ugh, this is where they were facing.
Yeah, Blake Coleman, I mean, he was terrific tonight. He had 7 shots on goal. He was all over it. He was the game's first star, and very deservedly so. And the thing with Coleman I think gets underrated about him is just his volume of shots and attempts. And obviously it stands out tonight with 7 shots. But even when he's not getting 7, even on nights where he's getting only 2 or 3 shots, he's attempting like almost double digits. And it's been a consistent thing throughout the start of this season. He is, I think, by far the Flames leader in attempts, in shots, chances, pretty much every metric, individual expected goals. He is a real buzzsaw, and he is being rewarded. He's one of the few guys on the team who has basically been rewarded from day one with actual production. And as we see later in the third period, it continued and for him, it was a very fortunate one. But again, he is getting the breaks in large part because he just keeps throwing everything on the net. I've got the actual numbers up here. At 5-on-5, he has 23 shots. He's got, let's see here, individual expected goals, 2.74 in total. He has 4 goals on those 2.74. Only one other player is above 2. And then there's a big pileup of guys who are just under 2. But he is the quality of chances that he is generating. He's got 14 high danger chances. That is twice as many as everybody else on the team except for Joel Farabee, who's at 11. That's it.
I remember getting really snappy with Frank on a podcast last season where he was asking me about how much of a disappointment Blake Coleman was.
Not
and
at
I'm
all.
like, I really like Blake Coleman. So I was like, well, I don't think anyone thinks he was going to score 30 again. And I'm like,
he might.
Sure might.
Hey, for the folks who are disappointed that the Flames didn't sell high on Coleman 2 years ago, hey, maybe they didn't miss the boat. Maybe they could. We'll see. I mean,
I don't know if you're team tank and you want to keep like a couple of good old veterans to bring the young kids along. He's like one of my top.
One of the top ones for sure. But by the same token, if he's producing and you can find a suitor in the right situation, a guy like Blake Coleman's the guy who helps you win a Stanley Cup, and he already did it twice.
Hell yeah, brother.
No.
Another prediction you had before the game, you were saying Sam Honzek is going to score tonight. Sam Honzek is going to score tonight. Right after the Coleman goal, you get a 2-on-none.
Yeah. Single shot generation, a category there is. He has been getting tons of quantity, not maybe as much quality as Coleman has, but tons of quantity. He defers this time, perhaps wisely, but it's Honzek who can't score. And he got a great shot off just over the pad, but it was just too far to the right. And he absolutely looks like an NHL player to me. I liked him coming out of camp last year. Now I really love what I'm seeing from Sam Honzek. The production isn't there. Got his first assist last game in Winnipeg, but to me, this looks like a guy who at 20 is accomplishing certain things with and without the puck that guys who are 4, 5, 6 years older than him struggle still to do.
Which is huge because I hated to see people starting to give up on him last year when he is still so young. And there was a bit of an injury history there, and
Big
not
time.
necessarily career-altering injuries, just ones that
Just annoying.
slowed him down, just
Yeah.
kept him off the ice for extended periods of time. So it's coming along for him. He can't buy a goal.
No, we can't.
But Derek Newman could help him buy a house.
Oh, for goodness sake.
That's the one I wanted to say for you.
Oh, but Cam, we haven't got through all the goals yet.
I don't care. I just wanted to say it.
Do the Derek Newman thing.
Come on, Derek. He loves these too.
He does. I know.
Yeah. And everyone has a personal connection to Derek too. You said
Yeah, his mom was my piano teacher back when I was like 5 or 6 years old. She's still a good family friend. My favorite thing about Derek's mom is that, I have a car background as well. She loved, I don't know if she still does, but she loved when I, knew her more, her PT Cruisers. Absolutely loved them. Talk about a personality.
Sassing.
That's the good stuff. And so if Derek's got even half of that, he's worth your time.
I know, like when when our house sold a little while ago here and he went and put the sold sticker on, I put it on our Instagram story and my friends are like, I worked with him at Famoso.
Not a sponsor, but could be a sponsor.
Yeah, big fan actually. Yeah. But no, Derek does pretty much everything. Like they have like our house cleaned. They did all the staging, all the pictures. Super easy to work with.
Could probably be
you can get in touch with him. I bet I could call him right now and he would pick up literally. So if you're interested in buying or selling in the greater Calgary area, you can call Derek Newman at 403-619-6661 and he'll make it easy for you. So let Derek put his network to work for you.
He loves to, text Pinder, especially as far as I know, because a couple shows ago, I incorrectly said that it was his aunt who was the piano teacher. No, it was the mom. And he let us know right away. So if he's that diligent responding to slip-ups on air on a TV show, a YouTube show that we have, a couple hundred people watching, how do you think he's going to pay attention when there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions on the line? That's the mark of a good realtor.
Unfortunately, our place was not worth millions.
Ah!
I feel like we got a slamming deal on our new place, though.
Sorry, Cam, but we got another super chat. This one, unfortunately, is not for millions. It's for 279, but we appreciate it even still from R&B. We got beat badly on the Rangers goal, -11 now. We're trying to keep it a little bit more positive.
We'll spread it out. I'd say we're going to share the blame there.
A little bit on Zary for sure.
I'll assign a third.
Yeah. But no, Uyghur finished the game even. So no, he's not -11. Only one Flame, as far as I can tell, was a minus tonight. And it was Jake Bean. Poor buddy.
He actually had some good plays tonight.
Yeah, I didn't think he was bad.
Yeah.
They still have the training wheels on Perek a little bit. He only played 14 minutes, but he was a +2. So there you go.
Good to see. All right. And to wrap up the scoring summary, you can make it 5. It was Blake Coleman with his second of the night. And it's Alexi Lafreniere with the world's worst.
Bingo. He just throws it on net. Good things happen. That was his 7th and final shot of the game. And he had an excellent night.
His first multi-goal game since April 2nd, 2025 against the Anaheim Ducks.
Only the second multi-goal game by a Flames player this season. And Cami, we didn't talk about it off the hop, but the other guy on the Flames who has a multi-goal game this season was not in the lineup tonight.
Matt Coronato was scratched. I think most of you know that by now.
We were waiting for one of you to say it.
I know. I saw someone say Bison once, and that was it. But yeah, so Matt Coronato sent to the Raptors. Ryan Huska said it's just a quick reset. He's been forcing it a little bit. But that's where I wonder, like, Mike, what are your thoughts on where trying to create becomes forcing it?
Yeah, I mean, I think in a sense, with Coronato, I think part of it's probably just going to be a little bit punitive for the penalties that he took in the last game. But by the same token, this is a guy who in 9 games has 2 points at even strength, 3 points in total, is a -9. And you have to be sort of egalitarian about these sorts of things. And they've proven that they can do that with Sharangovich. And that was a well-deserved scratch. He's back. And now you're doing the same thing with Coronato. And I think, you can squeeze your stick a little bit tighter. I am personally in the camp that maybe wouldn't have scratched either of them. Although I think, for both of them, they were playing below their standards. I think these are the kinds of guys who need to score or who need to play themselves out of a funk in order to get back to the point where they are scoring.
But was Coronato getting particularly flamed after the last loss, the way that Sharangovich was on Hockey Night?
No, certainly not. And I think maybe that's just an instance of just bad timing. I mean, one has a bad game on Hockey Night in Canada, one has a bad game on a Friday night where everybody's watching the Blue Jays. But by the same token, I think it is emblematic more of a team-wide problem. I think, and obviously it's rich to say that after a game in which they score 5, but one game does not solve a season, and they are still 2-7-1. And Matt Coronato has 3 points. Farabee's got 3 points. Sharangovich has got 2 points. Zary's got 2 points, even after tonight's game. So it's still absolutely a big problem overall. And maybe a brand new contract shouldn't, prevent a guy from getting that side of it. By the same token, though, I think the resulting moves in the lineup tonight, I don't know if they made a whole lot of sense. Morgan Frost on the wing is just not something that really tracks to me at all. I think there are ways to do it where you have 4 more evenly spaced out lines instead of 3 that are sort of more capable and then 1 that is less capable. And I
no
think
shade to Justin Kirkland.
No shade.
For his 10:03 of ice time and 2 hits.
No shade, but it's just. I think there's a way that they could do it that is, giving everybody a little bit more to chew on. And you even saw it at points in this game where it finally started to open up a little bit. And to me, that is a lot of it that is hampering these guys to a certain extent. It's not explicitly, exclusively talent. There is a certain directive, in a sense, that is coming as well from the coaches, because they know that this is the method that got them within 1 point of a playoff spot last year. But at a certain point, and of course, tonight it opened up, but at a certain point, you're going to be out of it. And these guys have their own individual stuff to play for. And I'm curious to see if and when it gets to a point where it opens up a little bit more for some of these guys and they're not sort of constrained as much, because I do think it is a wider problem with Coronato and Yegor and Frost and etc.
But in terms of seeing these very expensive players who are supposed to be your best players spending some time in the press box, this almost feels like an escalation of the early Ryan Huska days where people really talked about how, this guy sends a message with how he divvies up the ice time.
Yeah.
And have you seen Sharangovich improve that much since his benching?
He was good tonight. I mean,
got his first of the season.
His underlying numbers have been pretty solid most of the year. Coronato's haven't been. That's a big thing with me, is that I see entering this game, there were 4 players on the Flames who had 5-on-5 expected goals percentages below 50%. The Flames generally over the course of the season have been doing a decent job of generating quality chances at 5-on-5. They just haven't been able to convert. It's been interesting to see. The only 4 guys below 50% were Lomberg, who was way down there. But then Zary, Coronato, and Pahal. That's it. And so, when you're seeing Coronato, part of it is just that, what made him so explosive and dynamic last year, the improvements that he made to his skating, I'm not seeing him move his feet as much as we have seen him. The shot maybe isn't as prolific as it has been. And so I don't mind him getting a reset. By the same token, I don't know if this is necessarily the only way they could have gone about resetting him. I think they maybe could have changed things around because ultimately I think there are guys like Coronato and Sharangovich and Frost and Farabee and Zary who are in an isolation and a vacuum better than their stats would suggest, better than their deployment and the way they look would suggest. And I do think as we get into the road ahead, it is also going to just normalize by the point that we set it off the top of the year. This early part of the schedule put the Flames in a prime position to start terribly. They were going up against an absolute gauntlet, and they were as advertised. They were really bad against some really good teams, and now we're starting to see it even out a little bit. And so I think we might see guys like Matt Coronato have more than 2 even strength points over a 10-game stretch, because the circumstances will allow it a little bit more. So I think there's a lot of things at play.
A question for you.
Please.
Are you familiar with Motley Crue's seminal 4th album?
I could not tell you what it is called.
Goals, goals, goals. Kidding.
Oh.
Goals. Okay, no. So the Flames were dead last in the NHL in goals for with 16 in 9 games entering the night. Who was in 31st? The New York Rangers. They were right next to them in 31st, and it seemed like they had quite a wide margin at 21 goals in 9 games. Now, after tonight's game, Calgary has 21 goals to the Rangers 22. So they might still be in last place in the league, but listen, you might get out of the basement in some categories soon enough.
The Flames, they are the only team in the bottom 6 in the league that has played 10 games so far. The Sharks have played 9. They have still 1 more point. The Blues have played 8. They have 2 more points. The Blue Jackets have played 8. They have 3 more points. Tonight is sort of a game for everybody. It has some scoring, has some good goaltending, and it also allows the tank to proceed.
And it also has some physicality that we were kind of mulling over earlier tonight. This might just be me projecting a little bit, but when I remember Connor Zary and Matt Coronato coming into the league, I don't remember them facing the type of hits that Zane Parekh is.
No.
I feel like he's faced a lot of kind of marginal ones. And even the one tonight, I think it could have been a boarding.
Yeah, you might expect to see Parekh taking more just purely on his positioning as a defenseman. And of course, he did have that one where Will Cooley sort of shoved him from behind, and it was kind of ugly looking. I thought it could have been boarding. But the interesting thing that I've noticed with Parekh is that a lot of it's happening, in the middle of the ice. A lot of it's happening standing up at the blue line or defending zone entries or just in general transition play. And so that to me is kind of interesting. It is good to me, in my opinion, that he's not backing down. It seems he doesn't look too skittish. He doesn't look too passive. He looks like he's still sort of involved in the fray. But yeah, I mean, Zary has certainly had more of the hits recently. He can't avoid getting blown up for more than 10 games at a time, it seems. But yeah, Parekh is taking a bit of a beating. And I mean, the other thing is that
the Nino Niederreiter versus Zane Parekh World Tour.
Yeah, well, and also Parekh just doesn't have as much meat on the bones as a lot of those defensemen do. He plays kind of like a forward, and so I mean, I'm not too worried about it. I think he's a smart guy. He's getting sort of more in tune with what to expect, and so far, I think he has done his job pretty well. He's getting extremely sheltered. Like they're playing him. I don't even know how much he played at 5-on-5 tonight. It wasn't very much. He is on the top power play unit, which is good. That he should be, and he looks very good there. I thought the top power play unit tonight was not as good as the second power play unit. Yeah, we both
really liked the second power play.
Second unit was great. I would have swapped off the Flyers for Zary and Yegor, and I think it would have been, a better top unit. But yeah, Parekh tonight played 10:31 at 5-on-5. That is the same amount as Ryan Lomberg. So I don't know. I think he'll get to a point where he's, closer to the 15-16 range in time.
Side note, before we get into Dustin Wolf in the road ahead, my friend who's like really not into hockey went to the Flames game on Wednesday for her dad's birthday. And so I was curious to get like the outside perspective of a person who does not follow this stuff. I was like, okay, like, who did you like? Who do you like watching on this team? And she's like, that number 70 is just so fun. Like, you can never get rid of him.
Yeah.
Hold him to a different standard than everyone else.
Yeah. Well, sure. I mean, the thing that I am curious about is how the lineup will change when Coronato comes back, because Huska was pretty clear that he expects this to be just a 1-game absence for Coronato, and I think that's a good thing. I think he should come back in. But then you sort of wonder, what does the rotation look like? I think Zary and Sharangovich look good tonight, so I don't think you would want to take them out. I am very, very curious. Do you just go back to Justin Kirkland? Maybe. I don't know. It's a question that I have. And so, Morgan Frost is one that I'm kind of curious about, because obviously he did have an assist tonight. The underlyings tonight were a little bit ugly. I don't like the fit for him on the wing. I don't think it makes any sense.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's Joel Farabee. I don't really think so. I think Farabee's been okay, but maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of directions they could go. I think they'll probably just revert to Kirkland, but the thing that I'm a lot more intrigued by is if we do get to a point 2 or 3 or 4 months down the road, if they do sell a little bit, some of these guys out, not only the opportunities that will open up for the guys in the American League, but also the guys who are already on the Flames, like the Coronatos, like the Frosts and Farabees and Sharangoviches and Zarys. if guys like Kadri and Coleman do go, because they'll just have a little bit more room to maneuver without having to worry about the lineup shuffle every single night. Because right now they've quite frankly just got too many guys, and they have to sort of work on how to fit them all in every single night.
Some speculation in the chat. Jack, I don't know if he was at the Dome tonight. He might have been, because we do have Yasmin on
he's probably
producing
dead.
the show.
He's probably in a ditch somewhere.
His liver was only going to hold up for so long.
He's got to have some soup and have a long sleep. Poor Jack. Sunday night, Jack. Back here tomorrow.
Be well.
Yeah.
Before we get to the road ahead, Dustin Wolf, oh my goodness. 30 saves on 31 shots tonight, a crisp 968 save percentage. He's doing pretty well shouldering a tough workload. He's tied with Scott Wedgwood for the most starts in the league this year.
Tied with Scott Wedgwood.
I know, right?
Yotes legend. 2 10 years in Phoenix. Yeah, Dustin Wolf.
Well, except for Scott is 5-1-2, but
yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, the thing that I had a buddy tell me, Murray's not going to pay Wolf $7 million not to play. It's just like, I get it. I get why they're playing him so much, and he's gotten better with more reps. He had maybe a bit of a shaky start. I'm curious as the schedule lightens up here if they do start to give Cooley a bit more of a look. We'll get to that in the road ahead, but Wolf is certainly a goaltender who should not be judged on his line. He needs to be judged on a bit of a curve, because a lesser goaltender would have given up a lot of goals tonight and in any other game. He did what he needed to do and then some, and that's typically the case. We haven't had many nights this year, even early on, even with his numbers looking this bad, which they aren't, but with they looks this bad, we haven't had really many nights where we've been like, that's on him, that's on Dustin. It really hasn't been the case.
And the thing that really impressed me tonight was that he started making those big saves in the second period, where he's been, sitting through the first intermission. He only had 5 shots in the first frame. Like, it is tough to get warmed up. I think that's something we really saw in the Jacob Markstrom era, where there are goalies who need volume to get dialed. And I don't think Dustin Wolf necessarily needs that. No,
he doesn't. He's very cool between the pipes. He's able to come to the task when called upon. We saw with the Wranglers and with the Heat over the years, and in Everett, he could play behind good defenses. He could play behind porous defenses. He could play behind so-so defenses. He could make 16 saves in a shutout. He could make 45 saves in a shutout. He's perfectly capable of pretty much handling anything that another team will throw at him. And he's not going to single-handedly keep this team out of the basement, but he is going to win them more games than they deserve to.
Absolutely. Why don't you tell us about the Mitsubishi Outlander? And you have to watch it since we're into Halloween season.
This is the thing with doing the show with you, is that I know with every co-host, the road ahead read is going to be a little bit different. It's always going to, take on a different form. And with you, it's this television show that I still haven't seen.
It's a movie.
Television show. They're the same thing. They're all just, 48 frames per second in front of my eyes, sit on the couch and watch them. But if you sit in the Outlander, it's going to feel like a couch. And the road outside is your movie. You're just watching it go by out your window, and it's just so smooth. And you're going to think you're wearing 3D glasses, but you're not, because everything outside that window is just so smooth. You can just focus all on it. And you don't even have to worry about interest while you're looking at it, because finance and lease rates for the 2025 Outlander MPHEV start at 0% up at Platinum Mitsubishi, the sponsor of the road ahead and family owned and operated by lifelong Calgarians. Head on up to 2720 Barlow Trail Northeast to check out their lineup of SUVs with a standard 10-year, 160,000 kilometer powertrain warranty. I don't even know if the Flames private jet flies 160,000 kilometers in a decade. So, you'll be good. Go on to 2720 Barlow Trail Northeast. And Cami, the road ahead is very interesting for this Flames team heading into November.
I'm not even calling it the road ahead. We have a new alternate title.
Yeah, that's right.
The March of 500. The March of 500.
The March to 500.
I mean, this is really where it could get better, and we could see the Flames pick up some wins. Team Tank clutching their pearls, as we say that. But they could also just not show up and play to the level of some pretty average teams.
Well, that was the case last season, and that was the case. It's been the case with the Flames, and it's often the case with a lot of teams. They have a habit of falling into traps. They get into a lull against certain opponents, And the Flames have to respect all their opponents in November because, quite frankly, their other opponents will have to be doing the same with them. They'll have to be respecting the Flames. They'll have to be, on their game to avoid overthinking it against a team that enters November potentially 2-9-1 or 3-8-1. We'll see what the end result ends up being for this month.
But the reason we keep on saying 500, basically all of the teams they are facing are at 500 or a point, give or take, above or below. So remember, it's the early start on Tuesday. It's a 4:00 Mountain start as the Flames take on the Leafs. That's adjusted to account for World Series Game 4. Leafs are playing 500 hockey and also a lot of overtime. 3 times in their last 5, and they have won 2 of those. And that's also the question, do you play Wolf in that? Because the last time he was in Toronto, that's when the Calder conversation was really heating up, and they got absolutely rinsed 6-2 when Toronto was wearing those St. Pat's uniforms.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know if I would play Wolf in that one. I mean, they probably will. They'll probably play Wolf the rest. They'll probably play Wolf in every non-back-to-back going forward. I have no idea. But it's at the end of the month. I mean, 2 teams that made the playoffs last year, 2 teams with a lot of talent, although Ottawa is playing without Brady Tkachuk. Mm-hmm. It's the Leafs on Tuesday, 4:00, weird start time. The Sens 2 days later. The Sens have gotten off to a bit of an icky start to the season, but they'll be wanting
heating up. They have points in 3 straight games now, and they absolutely throttled Washington 7-1 this weekend, and that also took Dylan Strome out.
Yes, and Dylan Cousins, another Dylan, who's from the place that's on my sweater, didn't even point at it, but that's okay.
White Horse.
White Horse. He had a couple goals in that win over the Caps, so he is heating up. And then, you get into November, and, an opportunist might look at this and say, oh, the Flames can really catch up maybe with a good run of games against these teams. A pessimist might say, well, they're maybe no better, but we'll see. As they start the month of November with a 1:30 Saturday matinee in Nashville, followed up with a second game in as many days against the Philadelphia Flyers.
I hear there's going to be some hooligans at that Nashville game.
Oh, is that true? Is that something that maybe we're involved with, or maybe tangentially? We're not involved with.
I think we have to hold down the fort.
Yeah, I think we're going to be forced to do the actual work. Well, a couple of slackers are off having some Pilsners in Nashville.
Rats.
Yeah.
Do they have Pilsner in Nashville?
I don't even know. It was the first thing that came to my mind.
Vitamin P.
They got vitamin P. Wow.
You don't call it that?
I don't call it anything. I don't like Pilsners. It can call me if it wants, but I'm not picking up that phone.
Only one Pilsner in my world.
Pilsnery Doughboy?
Oh.
Poppin' Fresh?
I don't know. Saskatchewan, man.
Okay, let's
But yeah, as you mentioned, it's the dreaded road back-to-back in Philly on Sunday. The Flyers are 4-3-1. This is just going to be the second time that Frost and Farabee face their former club. First time since March of 2025. Of course, we won't see Jacob Peltier or Andrei Kuzmenko since they don't play there anymore. Yeah, Peltz is in Syracuse, Kuzmenko's in LA, and funny note from that last meeting, actually, between Calgary and Philadelphia. I was reading the game recap from that game, which was a 6-3 Calgary win. I think Frost actually had 2 assists in that one. But the Flames had lost their last 3 games, 0-2-1, and scored 1 goal over that stretch.
Sounds about right.
History don't repeat, but sometimes it does rhyme.
The Flames and not scoring, that's a duo that I can't even imagine together, like Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau. They're official, by the way, as of yesterday.
I am if you take aside, throw out anything, any personal feelings you have about either of those people, that's a lot of
a lot of baggage.
No, just loud energy.
Loud.
I think it would be exhausting to be near that.
Yeah, it's like eating dinner next to a gramophone. Just that's a very dated reference. Let's just keep this show going.
Wait, is that the machine that made all the noises for old Bugs Bunny cartoons?
Like an old record
stuff?
Player. Yeah.
Oh, we're thinking of something different.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
oh, well.
We're having a great show.
Yeah, sure. We'll close out the road ahead looking at Wednesday, November 5th, as the Flames return home to host the Columbus Blue Jackets. Also heating up, they are 3-1 in their last 4. Also a 500 team. So theoretically, again, close your ears, Team Tank. If you do well on this road trip, you're 1 point over 500 when you return home to face the Blue Jackets. Hey,
you know what? It is an opportunity. And, obviously Team Tank might not like that. So we should wet their palates a little bit with a little bit of information on the part of the Calgary Wranglers. because they had a nice little weekend here at the Saddledome. And we should point out our buddy Hunter Brustevich, who is off to a fantastic start to his second professional season, 3 goals and 6 points in 6 games. And Matvey Gridin, since going down and playing for this Wranglers team, which I think is a perfect environment for him, 7 points in 4 games. He's been taking a ton of shots. He's looked just perfect on that top 6. He and Basha and Karen's just doing everything they can. For me, boy, oh boy, just let those guys cook as long as possible. Maybe bring them up after the trade deadline, see what you got there after that. But for now, don't mess with a good thing. Also, yesterday, guess who got an assist for the Calgary Wranglers? Our buddy Danil Miramanov. How about that? Good for you, buddy.
I thought you were going to say or talk about earlier this weekend, Big Axe getting named the first European captain of the Calgary Hitmen.
Axel Hertig, the captain of the Calgary Hitmen.
He's hilarious, actually. I got to meet last year when the Hitman netminder Daniel Hauser set the WHL record for most wins.
Mm-hmm.
I was like down, between the dressing rooms, kind of getting ready for that. And at intermission, like we kind of like thought they were going to win it, but Axel Hertig is running around frantically trying to find a knife or a pair of scissors, finds them, takes them, hides them on the bench. So as soon as his teammate sets this record, he runs out there and gives them the scissors so they can cut off a big chunk of the net.
Yeah.
Which I think might have thrown a bit of a wrench into the Wranglers game the next day.
Yeah, probably.
But
yeah.
What can you do?
Yeah.
Here's one in the super chat for you, Michael, from Anne on whichever. Thank you so much. $60.99 for Youth Centers of Calgary. Do you think Kadri would actually be traded, and what teams, as he comes up on milestone game number 1000?
So I've had a lot of thoughts about this, and I keep going back and forth whether I think he will be traded. There's part of me that looks at it and thinks the Flames, generally speaking, don't like trading guys who have term left. And that's true of most teams. But with Kadri, he's got 3 years after this one. The Flames have not traded a skater on their roster with term left since James Neal.
Why would they get rid of him?
Exactly. So, they generally only do it when they have a reason to. You look at the guys who they've traded in recent years. They've waited until they've gotten into the last years, and then they've made that call. But it can always change if there is desire on the part of the player. And to me, it does speak volumes that after 3 years of not really hearing anything about Nazem Kadri and his contract status and the clauses contained therein, the first 2.5 weeks of this season have been full with minutia being discussed as to exactly what the terms of Kadri's no movement clause and no trade clause pertain. It is just extremely telling to me that now we are getting all sorts of corrections, all sorts of different tidbits coming out from very connected people who are saying, oh yeah, Nazem Kadri doesn't have a full no move clause this season. He has a modified no trade clause, which allows him to submit a 13-team no trade list. My understanding is that this has been the start from the beginning, that it was just misreported. And this has been the case, and just for whatever reason, the record was not corrected. But now there might be a reason for the record to be corrected. Why would this be coming out now if there isn't something happening? If there isn't something going on that's like, yeah, folks know this because it's a topic of conversation behind the scenes, because, in past years where nobody's really needed to know what the terms of his no move or no trade clause is because the Flames have been giving a flat no to anybody who's asked. Now maybe there's something going on where Kadri himself is perhaps saying, let's see where this goes. Or the Flames themselves are saying, we might want to explore something. Or other teams are calling and saying, well, can you tell us a little bit more? So the fact that we're getting this is very telling to me. I don't necessarily know any teams that would be out there. I mean, people have been saying everything from Vancouver to Ottawa to Buffalo. I don't know. I don't think there's really anything concrete. People seem to think that the 1,000th game thing is a plateau. It certainly makes sense to me. It's only 5 games away. So this is around the time where we start to hear things bubbling out. And then you typically start to see things actually moving, parts moving. It's sort of like end of November, end of December. And that's when I think we'll really start to hear what teams are interested and then what the asking price would be and all sorts of that stuff, assuming that the Flames continue at least somewhat on this path.
Well, it's a lot for fans to chew on in the meantime.
Yeah, a lot.
And for you would be choosing to chew on a gyoza. We're keeping a running tally of how many regular season orders of gyoza Mike goes through.
I had one last night.
Did you have it at the Unicorn?
I didn't, and it was a huge mistake. I had it at an absolutely horrible restaurant. It was up by Platinum Mitsubishi, in fact, and I will not name names, but the gyoza was just brutal. Not at all like the gyoza that I had at the Unicorn a few weeks ago, which was just terrific.
It was pretty money, actually.
It was money.
Well, next time you should check out one of their 2 locations on 8th Avenue Southwest or 4th Street Southwest. It's Calgary's Super Pub, guys. 3 floors, 3 bars, 1 destination. And it's got everything. It's got the hockey, football, soccer, UFC. They've got all the games that are fun. Golden Tee, Buck Hunter Classic, pinball.
I love pinball.
Darts. Oh, we played darts in my friend's basement yesterday watching the Jays game. There's quite a few holes in that drywall now, which is why you don't watch the game in the basement and try to play darts there. You go watch it at the Unicorn, and they're playing the games with the sound. If you're watching games 3, 4, 5 when the Jays are on the road here, like, get on down there. What are you doing?
Speaking of the Blue Jays,
Yes.
The Flames apparently are now giving out a blazer after each win this season. They just posted this on their Twitter, and I guess maybe taken after the home run jacket that the Blue Jays do after each home run they hit. Poor Matt Coronato is in this video, and he looks very dejected wearing a toque right next to Ryan Huska. But Michael Backlund gave out the inaugural red blazer for, I suppose, the top performer in today's game too. Any guesses?
I mean, did they not give it to Coleman?
No.
What?
They didn't. I would never have picked this. I was like, who do you think?
I'm watching it right now. Unfortunately, this looks a lot like the red blazer that I bought for myself.
Look at Coronato. He looks dejected.
Yeah.
Like poor guy. They give it to Morgan Frost.
Oh.
I mean, I guess.
Happy for him.
Good for him. Not who I would have picked, I guess, but good for him.
Well, now Morgan Frost and I have a matching jacket. I hope his also has shoulder pads.
Yeah, Coronato looks really sad. Poor guy.
He doesn't look sad. He's just wearing I think that's just the way his face is.
I don't know, man. Like, he's just sort of sitting there. He's just like, I regret my life choices, but I feel for the guy.
At the start, he doesn't like that's posture.
Maybe. Yeah, he's just sort of looking down, chewing his gum, and just waiting for Huska to finish talking, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the boys can break all that down.
The boys can break all that down tomorrow.
But you were taking a look at Bet365 for us tonight, right?
Yes. I believe we have the screenshot of tomorrow's tips and tidbits for the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. That's the team they're playing in the World Series. Game 3 goes at 6. Should be a lot of fun. The Dodgers, as you would expect after Yoshinobu Yamamoto's excellent Game 2, are favored to take Game 3 at home. The over-under set at 8 runs in total. So we'll see. I mean, Max Scherzer is on the bump for the Blue Jays tomorrow. That'll be very, very interesting. I believe he's going up against Tyler Glasnow because Ohtani, I think, will be doing Game 4 against Shane Bieber. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, chat. I forget. I know Scherzer's going tomorrow, and so I expect to see Bo Bichette in the lineup. I think Schneider confirmed that earlier today. He'll be back in at second base. I hope they play better. Again, like I said, I had a really rough time watching the game last night because I was up at a really bad restaurant whose name I will not say on mic, and I had really bad food, and so I wasn't happy about that. And then they lost after, it was a tough one last night because Gausman was pitching so well through the first 6 innings, but there were so many where you could just see that's a lot of fly balls out into the deep parts of the outfield, and you're sort of saying if these carry even a little bit more, they could be danger. And then in the 7th, there's 2 that are fly balls deep into the outfield, and they carried. And you're sort of like, oh, I could sort of see that coming. So hopefully the Jays bats can come alive tomorrow. But I would maybe say Dodgers tomorrow, but I think the Jays have not won their last game in this series.
I just want to see it come back to Toronto.
That'd be awesome. Do you know what I didn't like yesterday either? Was the stupid Jonas Brothers concert midway through the game.
That half a song?
That was weird.
It was
like
confusing.
It was really weird. Like it reminded me of when Simple Plan played the CFL Grey Cup, but it was even worse. It was just, it was just like it was
I
like
feel like all that stuff should have been part of the pregame because I feel like a very important cause kind of got overshadowed
Yeah, it
by
was
the general
horrible.
anxiety of that moment.
It was horrible. Like it was like I don't know. Like were they trying to stop people from booing the Jonas Brothers just by lumping them in with that? Like it was.
They wouldn't have booed the Jonas
I think
Brothers.
they would have booed the Jonas Brothers. because they're interrupting the game. Like, I don't know. To me, it was just dumb. I don't know. I mean, I guess Torontonians, do they like the Jonas Brothers?
I don't know. I think even if they're not
I don't know.
your thing, they put on a pretty crisp show. Like, they were good at the Grey Cup, and that's really not my thing.
They did do the Grey Cup. That's right. My favorite mid-game intermission performances. I've been to a couple games out in Vancouver. They do have a very nice arena, Rogers Arena. A couple times where I've been there, they've had intermission acts. And one of them was great. It was a Neil Diamond impersonator.
Oh, love that.
Nearly Neil. That was his name, Nearly Neil. And I was sitting with my friend, and I said to him, Nearly Neil is singing Nearly Notes, because he wasn't quite on the notes.
Tough.
Yeah, Nearly Neil.
We're actually trying to get BC's best. We were considering getting BC's best AC/DC cover band for the wedding.
I think we should get Nearly Neil for the drinking
BCDC.
show. BCDC.
BCDC is incredible.
Isn't that like the name of a bank?
No.
BCDC. I have like GICs at BCDC. I don't know. We're having a great time tonight.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, that is the Blue Jays. That's your line for tomorrow on Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. So
Never.
Download the app and get in on the game using code NATION. Well, folks, you got any thoughts, questions, or concerns you want to get in before we wrap this thing up? Anything else you wanted to touch on, Mike?
I don't really think so. I'm curious to see when Marty Pospisil comes back. Feels like we haven't really heard anything.
I feel like the start of
recently.
a road trip is like a good time to get an update to see
If
he
he's
even does
traveling.
go on the road with
I would
them.
imagine he'll probably travel, but we'll see. Yeah, I think Coronato will be back in on Tuesday, so that'll be fun to watch. Beyond that, I mean, I just hope they keep sort of making these gradual improvements, keep getting good shot quantities. They had a good shot quantity tonight against the Rangers. And I hope the Canucks keep beating the Oilers like they're currently doing. They're up 2-1 near the end of the second. So
Let's see, what do we got?
Draisaitl just scored. I know that.
This is implications.
But
for my
Elias
pool.
Pettersson, a goal and an assist.
Yes, I took him this year.
And a certain fellow named, I don't know, Brock Boeser?
How dare you?
Beeser? I think, isn't he the guy who does the PA announcing for the Flames? Brock Besser has his 4th goal of the season as well.
Rockstar, his dog passed away.
I know.
So
very,
cute.
very sad.
Mhm.
Yeah, Flames get the win. It's a good one. Hope to see more NCAA production from the likes of Cole Reshney and Cullen Potter coming up soon. Yeah, the first half of this season, it tells you a lot, but it doesn't tell you everything. And I think for the Flames, it's going to say, I think again, it's very interesting to me that they have sort of put this date out in the media of Kadri's 1,000th game. That is out there, and I don't think that's out there by accident. And I think once we get there, there'll be a lot of interesting information that comes out pertaining to a lot of guys on this team, and their performance over the next 5 games will dictate a lot of that as well.
You mentioned Reshney and Potter. For those of you who are very future focused, again, the CHL USA Prospects Challenge is going to be in town on November 25th. Chance to see the top draft eligible CHL prospects and the USNTDP. And Craig Conroy was just talking about it for the Hitman social media pages the other day, talking about, Cole Reshney scored the game-winning goal 2-1 against the U.S. in the first edition of these games.
And that's why they drafted him.
Right, clutch.
Absolutely.
Clutch. So you never know. You could see kind of the next guy. I'll say I think this is a really good defenseman draft coming up, especially out of the North. But there's some really interesting American players who have come north who could be in this game. I think JP Hurlburt is probably the first one that comes to mind. I don't know what I tried talking about it to Boom, and he's like, "Who's that JR Hoofha man?"
Boomer still hasn't got over John Mustard. Boomer's still thinking about John Mustard. Kiefer Sherwood, by the way, just scored in the last minute of this second period to make it 3-1 Nucks. So any night the Oilers lose and the Flames win, and we're not getting ahead of ourselves, but any night the Flames win and the Oilers are losing is a good night as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, sir. We got
leave it
Soul
at
of a Dead Man, or Dead Machine, Soul of a Dead Man, Soul of a Dead Machine. Let's Go Stamps crush the Lions on Saturday. Lots going on in Calgary sports, and we appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us. It's a 5-1 win.
I should mention before we go out.
Okay.
Before we go off, Cavalry, big win today. My sister, she's with them. Glad to see them taking a big win against York United down at Cofield tonight. Good to see you.
Hell yeah.
There we go.
March on. I'm sure the guys are going to be super cool and normal about this tomorrow.
Absolutely.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your night, friends. We're back soon.